And the military when I took that from to Bahrain during the hostage situation. Well, I'm in Bahrain. Where they're in ships. So, mhm.
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Douglas City Council to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing as we, Pastor Luis Aguilar from Iglesia Bautista Amistad offers our invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor.
Buenas tardes. Hay un pasaje en Jeremías 29:7 que dice: procurad la paz de la ciudad a la cual os hice transportar y rogar por ella a Jehová, porque en su paz tendréis vosotros paz. Oramos. Gracias, Señor, te damos esta tarde por la bendición de estar en este lugar, Señor. Gracias por la oportunidad, Señor, de tener esta reunión, Señor, con el consejo, con las personas que tú has puesto al frente de esta ciudad, Señor. Pedimos una bendición especial para cada uno de ellos, para cada una de sus familias, y en especial oramos por nuestra ciudad, Padre, por cada uno de los negocios, los asuntos y las comisiones que tienen que tratarse, que sean bajo tu guía y bajo tu voluntad, Señor. Estamos en tus manos, te lo pedimos en el nombre de Cristo Jesús. Amén.
Amén. Muchas gracias, Pastor.
Gracias.
Platicar un poquito de cómo va el ministerio.
Claro, estamos trabajando con la comunidad en todos los eventos posibles por el bien de ella. Seguimos teniendo mucha relación con diferentes organizaciones de la ciudad y pues tratando de hacerlo mejor para tener una mejor comunidad aquí en Douglas, en esta bella ciudad que Dios nos ha dado.
Muchas gracias, Pastor.
Gracias a ustedes.
If you please remain standing and join with me in a moment of silence for the people that have lost their life recently in the Middle East. And this isn't political. It's, I don't know how you feel about it, but innocent people have died. And so if you please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Item number 4, roll call.
Mayor Donald Lewis,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales, Councilmember Mitch Lindemann,
Here.
Councilmember Dania Acosta, Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva,
Here.
City Manager Honor Kiko,
Present.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbons,
Here.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, for the record, Councilmember Dania Acosta is excused.
Thank you very much. Item number 5, reading of proclamations. Item A, Extra Mile Day. Whereas the city of Douglas is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. And whereas the city of Douglas, Arizona is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And whereas the city of Douglas, Arizona is a community which chooses to shine a light on and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas the city of Douglas, Arizona acknowledges the mission of Extra Mile America to create 550 extra mile cities in America and is proud to support Extra Mile Day on November 1st, 2023. Now, therefore, let it be it resolved that I, Donald C. Hewish, Mayor, and on behalf of the City of Douglas Council, do hereby proclaim November 1st, 2023 to be Extra Mile Day, and urge each individual in the community to take time on this day to not only go the extra mile in his or her own life, but to also acknowledge all those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to make their organizations, families, community, country, and world a better place. In conjunction with this, we'd like to honor this evening 4 individuals that have made a great difference in our community by going the extra mile. And I know I'm probably going to embarrass them a little bit, but we're going to start off I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. First, I'd like to recognize Mr. Abe Villarreal. Look at that. Abe Villarreal serves as campus dean at Cochise College, where he sits as a member of the President's Council and an administrator of record for the Douglas campus. Abe leads community engagement efforts, connecting the campus with the Douglas community. Outside of his work, Abe volunteers with several organizations, including the CAME Migrant Center in Agua Prieta, Kiwanis International, and the Douglas Historical Society. He serves as a board member with Canyon Vista Medical Center and the Center for Academic Success. He is also a volunteer with CASA of Arizona as a court-appointed special advocate. Abe is a proud Douglas native, a graduate of Douglas High School, and an alum of Cochise College. Would you please join me in acknowledging Abe Villarreal? You know what, Abe, if we can wait, and I'll bring all of you up here at the same time, and we'll get a group picture, if that's okay.
We went to Western New Mexico.
That is true. That is a good place. The next individual we'd like to acknowledge is Alex Boneo. Alexandra Boneo is from Douglas, Arizona, and Agua Prieta, Sonora border communities. She has over 15 years of experience in community development in the nonprofit sector. As a Douglas Coalition Substance Abuse Coordinator, she was able to serve her border community directly by coordinating local efforts to address substance abuse prevention, underage drinking, and prescription drug abuse. This has also provided her the opportunity to network with other grassroots organizations, government agencies, and other nonprofit organizations to collaborate and partner in almost every prevention event in the community. She has made a significant impact in the community through her prevention efforts over the years. Alexandra also serves on the Legacy Foundation Board representing Cochise County. Volunteering for her community is her passion. In the last 10 years, she has volunteered for several efforts and organizations, including the Binational Health Council, COBINA, St. Vincent de Paul, Douglas Area Food Bank, Douglas for Stronger Families Council, City of Douglas Budget Council, City of Douglas Library Council, Leaders Across Borders, and many others. Her mission is to serve and make her community a better place in every possible way through passion and action. Please join me in congratulating Alex Boneo. The last two individuals I'll go together because they work hand in hand and arm. Mary Snyder and Julia Pinto. Do you like to go by Julia or Julia? Julia, perfect. Julia Pinto and Mary Snyder are lay missionaries with the Franciscan Mission Service who have served nearly 2 years as the U.S.-Mexico border here in Douglas and Agua Prieta, working for Father Jojo, head of the Catholic community of Douglas, Porterville. They established Douglas's Welcoming Center for Asylum Seekers, where mostly young families can have a homemade meal and rest before proceeding to Tucson, then onward to their sponsors. Julia and Mari are actively recruiting volunteers beyond Douglas's faith community. They welcome donations of food, paper goods, and cleaning supplies for this very active, every day of the week community effort that serves an average of 45 to 50 people, largely women and children each day. They are very honored to receive this award and warmly thank the City of Douglas, its leadership and community members for the wonderful welcome and experiences and opportunities they have been given in this lovely community. And I may add, they step forward at this time of need that we have in our community. And personally, I was at wit's end, not knowing what was going to happen. And so I can't thank them enough for doing that. Please join me in recognizing them for their fine service. If I could get you all to come up here in the council, if you wouldn't mind coming down so we can have a picture with them. On to item 5B, 22nd Annual Arizona Cities and Towns Week. A proclamation, whereas the Arizona Cities and Towns Week is celebrating its 22nd year, and whereas Arizona Cities and Towns Week is set aside each year to provide citizens with important information about the services and programs provided by the City of Douglas, and to recognize our municipal employees, volunteers, and elected officials who continually work to make sure these services are delivered seamlessly. And whereas Arizona cities and towns work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to provide vital city services such as fire, police, and emergency medical response to ensure safe communities. And whereas Arizona cities and towns also provide services and programs that enhance quality of life for residents, such as parks, water, wastewater, street maintenance, sanitation, libraries, and recreational programs. And whereas it is one of the responsibilities of the City of Douglas officials to provide open, accessible government through frequent and transparent communication with citizens using various avenues and means. And whereas through participation and cooperation, citizens, community leaders, local businesses, and municipal staff can work together to ensure that services provided by the City of Douglas remain exceptional elements of the quality of life in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Donald C. Hewish, Mayor, and on behalf of the City of Douglas Council, do hereby proclaim October 15th through 21st, 2023 as Arizona Cities and Towns Week. And I would encourage everyone, if you see a city employee out there, to please offer them our thanks to do that. And I'd like to, if you please join me in a round of applause for these fine employees. And item 5C, Domestic Violence Month. A proclamation. Whereas domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women between the ages of 15 to 44. And whereas between 2009 and 2022 in Arizona, 1,459 people lost their lives due to domestic violence, according to the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence. And whereas female crime victims are nearly twice as likely to be injured by an intimate partner than by a stranger. And whereas 41% of women and 26% of men report being physically or sexually abused by an intimate partner at some point in their lives, according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. And whereas domestic violence has injured and taken the lives of our friends, colleagues, and family members and affects our entire community. And whereas domestic violence education, prevention, advocacy, enforcement, and prosecution need increased public attention and support. And whereas the health, safety, and well-being of women and children is now and must always continue to be one of our community's highest priorities. And whereas freedom from domestic violence is a fundamental human right and transcends race, national origin, and citizenship. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Donald C. Hewish, Mayor, and on behalf of the City of Douglas Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I would like to remind everyone that if you see and feel that there is anybody that you come in contact with that may be being abused, please report it. It's better to be safe than not. It's something it's evil. I don't know how else to put it, and it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't happen in our fine community. And together, as we bind ourselves together through vigilance and through prayer, we can help eradicate this from our community. Thank you. Item number 6. Item number 6, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Do we have anyone this evening?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Please. Thank you very much. Mr. Richard Dodge, please. We'll move it over here for you, Richard.
Thank you very much for giving me this time. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and council, also the staff and employees of Douglas. Thank them for their services to our community. And especially thanking the first responders who risk their lives to keep us safe. We have a problem on 9th Street, and now I find out that in other streets, 11th and 23rd, various streets, of people speeding 45, 50 miles an hour in these residential areas. It's against the law. Beyond that, it's unsafe. So I'm hoping the city can address that in some ways. I believe that there was some effort I heard about a patrol car, sort of parking and kind of trying to, regulate that situation, but I'm not sure that very much has happened. Besides the dangers, there's also a lot of noise when people go that fast. We have a devotional meeting on Thursdays in our house, and that's interrupted quite a bit by, sounds like jet planes landing or something. Go through our street so fast. That's my main issue, and I hope that the city will be able to do something about the safety situation generally. You know, also, it seems like there's a lot of areas of the city where there's no white lines. I know going down 8th Street at night near Cochise, I mean, sometimes I don't know which side of the street I'm on because there's no white line. So thank you for this time. I'm sure the city is doing a good job on this, but I hope you will increase your efforts and keep us all safe.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge, for bringing that to our attention. Also on the agenda item 6, I'd like to take a little privilege of the chair to take this opportunity to introduce our new tourism coordinator. And I'd like to invite Mr. Dave Nevins to come up and tell us briefly a little bit about himself. And welcome to Douglas, Dave.
Well, I thank you for the introduction and just the welcome that everyone has given me. That's part of my job, is just syncing with the community, and you guys have been awesome. So thank you so much for that. And, you know, I just moved here from Tucson. I've been here about 5 weeks, and it's already hit my heart that, you know, the people here are amazing. We've got the attractions, and, you know, I'm just here to do my job and get more people here. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
I'd like to further take a little bit of another chair prerogative on this item. We have a Miss Colleen A. Mulvey, I believe, joining us via Zoom that would like to speak to us. Miss Mulvey, are you available?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, thank you. Greetings from Utah. I was asked to give you a little background about why I'm even here talking to you, and it's really kind of a special big deal. So I'm actually the Region 8 Director for what's called the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. And we have certification programs that we do with our municipal clerks. I'm sorry?
You're fine, please.
Oh, okay.
Please continue.
I just thought, anyway, so we have certification programs that we do with our municipal clerks throughout the United States and actually internationally throughout the world. And it's a pretty big deal for us because it takes a lot of effort on our part. We have to complete, and we have 2 certification programs. One's a certified municipal clerk, which takes about 3 years to achieve. And then there's the master municipal clerk, which takes another 3 or 4 years. And basically what that entails is we have to sit through about 120 hours worth of training classes. And these are university level classes. And I commend you, Mayor and Council and City Management, because you guys are forward thinking and you let your employees have their continuing education and continue with their professional development, because it is so important, especially in the clerk's job, because it's so complex, and as you all know, laws change all of the time. So I just was asked to kind of explain what our program is, and then to let you know how really big of a deal it is to get your master municipal clerk designation. And from what I hear, someone in your city has recently achieved this designation. I don't really know how you want to go about presenting this to her, but I just wanted to tell you how excited we are that your city clerk, Alma, has recently gotten her designation, and we're so proud of her. And kudos to you for, you know, letting her have the opportunity to increase her education and professional development.
Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And we have a little something for you. If the council again join me down front so we can have a picture with our.
Very close.
If you present to you the certificate along with your pin. And along with some flowers. We'll hold it for you. There you go. As you can see by the surprised look on her face, we did this without her knowledge. She usually coordinates all this for us. So it took some doing, and I thank Cynthia for being sneaky for us. Move on to item number 7, discussion decision on approval of consent agenda items. Item A, expenditures for the month of September 2023. Totaling $5,195,516.30. B, meeting minutes for September 13 and 27, 2023. And item C, Douglas Public Facility Municipal Property Corporation reappointments of Manny Robles, Francisco Tachi Durazo, Nick Forsyth, and a new appointment to the Douglas Public Facility Municipal Property Corporation of Jose Montaño. And item D, Transportation Advisory Committee reappointment of Matthew Gurney. May I have a motion regarding the consent agenda items?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve consent agenda items A, B, C, and D as presented.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Valdenegro to approve the consent agenda items as presented. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Potem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8, presentation discussion. Item A, update to Douglas Transit Site Selection and Environmental Study. From CivTech, we have, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Mike James, and I'm with CivTech here to give you a brief update on the project that we worked on a couple of years ago. And what the reason we're here today is that we want to introduce an additional site to review in the document, update the document, and then provide an opportunity to discuss that today. Ultimately, why this is important is documenting this additional site will allow you in the future to seek federal funds and grants to advance the improvements on the different sites. So I'm just going to be doing a quick update on this study. I think you were all here a couple of years ago when we were talking about this last. Okay, so just a quick review on the project purpose. Really 2 main points. We wanted to identify a transit administration office where your city staff could really provide excellent customer service functions. And number 2, identify secured vehicle storage location, which we have done and continues to be the existing public works site. As I mentioned earlier, updating this document will allow you and the city to seek federal grants in the future, which is very important. So this slide just shows the site that we previously reviewed in the study. Don't need to focus on this too much. We really want to talk about the additional site that we would like to document. And that is site 7. So this is a site 1815 East 9th Street. Earlier this year, the city-owned building became available, and transit actually got to move in and start utilizing the site. I was fortunate to be able to visit the site today, talk to staff. It looks fantastic. There's great working space. So this seems to be a very well-functioning site and location for staff's needs. So as part of the documentation, as you recall from our previous study, we looked at a lot of different things. Does the site fit in with the neighborhood? Does it have good access and mobility? What is the context? Is it near residential areas? How does it serve the downtown? We also look at transit access. We look at crash collisions in the area. We also look at cultural resources or hazardous materials that may be in the area. And looking at those things, this looks like a great site. We still have a couple of things that we're going to flush out in our report to bring back to you, but we think this is a very viable and good location. And obviously it's been working well for staff thus far. So our next steps, we're going to update the study report with this site, complete all the documentation that we need so that transit staff can submit that to ADOT. And then we will be back here before you. We want to present that final report and recommendation. And then with your insight, we will finalize that report. Like I said, so it'll be available to submit to the state and make these sites available for future grant funding. So that was a pretty quick update, but that's what we're doing. The main purpose tonight is really just to give you an update on what we're doing, why we're doing it, and see if there's any questions about moving forward with looking at the site.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the council?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
if I may, thank you very much for this. I just had a quick question that came to my mind. Does your study include maybe some upgrades or some retrofitting of that site for the transit?
So what we will do in this study, so with the existing funding that the state had, or that you have from the state on this, it's not eligible for improvements on this actual specific site, but the documentation will allow, and in the next round of grant applications, that site would be eligible. So we're just setting the plate for the future.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else, please? Mr. Baldanegro, please.
Sir, does this include any plans for like a hub downtown where if they needed to go down to the transit office where they could be out of the elements, like let's say if it was cold winter day where they like Cervesta has their transit station?
So this site does have a customer service space where people can come in and wait, but it does not include that hub concept like you mentioned. The existing hub would continue to be used with the shelter that's out there in the downtown today.
Right, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Move on to item number 9. Discussing decision on approvals, item A. Resolution number 23-1567, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the intent to grant a utility easement to Arizona Public Service, APS, for the construction of future solar panel parking structures at 2 city-owned sites through the Solar Communities Program. Ms. Villalobos, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the city of Douglas applied to the APS Solar Communities Program in May of 22. This program was developed to ensure the availability of solar to limited and moderate income customers. The APS Solar Communities Program is open to customers that serve limited income populations, including Title I schools, nonprofits, and rural governments. What we're asking for is the intent to grant an easement so that APS can have access to our city-owned properties so that they can begin the design of the solar panel parking structures. This includes the golf course and City Hall.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the resolution? Mr. Lindeman, please.
I move that the mayor and council approve resolution number 23-1567.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mr. Shelton to approve resolution number 23-1567. Any questions or discussion, please? Yes, Mr. Bolanegro, please.
Can these parking solar park lots that they're gonna include EV stations?
So not currently. We are looking at funding for EV charging infrastructure, but it won't be included in these solar panels. There'll be parking structures, so basically covered parking that has solar panels attached to the top, and wherever they're at, that building will get a bill credit.
Is this only for city employee parking or for anybody?
So they'll be located at City Hall,
Right.
east and west. And then at the golf course will be the parking lot. So they'll be
Anybody-
available for public. use.
Anyone can park under.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bolanegro. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Larita. Item 9B, discussing decision on authorizing the approval to request budget authority to fund $68,000 from unrestricted fund balance to update the City of Douglas 2002 general plan. Mr. Osborne will lead off for us. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The general plan for the city of Douglas, Arizona was first adopted in 1993. Within 10 years, we had the update of 2002, which has served us for the last 21 years. We're looking to provide to the council a process that will close in just a little more than a year with an election on November 5th of 2024, which we would be required to do. With the funding for a consultant, the consultant would provide us with support, guidance, and added expertise when our staff is otherwise engaged. We would be looking to have a project kickoff meeting with staff and the planning consultant to help facilitate establishing goals and a vision specifically for the general plan update, and to set specific target dates for a timeline that meets Arizona revised statute requirements. Staff would likely work on updating the background and existing text of conditions and the maps from the 2002 general plan to bring them up to date, and to coordinate with the consultant on public involvement to ensure effective participation for our citizens. There are new general plan elements required and suggested by state law that should be added to our general plan and to support our policy goals and vision for our community that can supplement the Douglas Vision 2032 and Douglas in Motion policy priorities and guiding principle that we recently adopted a year ago, embracing our heritage and advancing our future. Staff would be working with the consultant on updating our existing elements and adding those elements that would move us forward toward that future with a better ability to acquire grants and other funding sources and attract opportunities with a clear direction in areas of environmental, natural, and energy resource resilience, economic development, public services and facilities, historic preservation, recreation, public safety, binational partnerships, and more. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions for Mr. Osborne? I'm going to ask Mr. Kiko to comment about the budget portion of it, but any questions regarding the general plan? Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like a time out? You know what we'll do? We'll have a motion first.
Yeah.
We have a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Linda.
I move that the mayor and council approve the budget request to fund $68,000 from unrestricted fund balance to update the city of Douglas 2002 general plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mr. Baldanegro to authorize the budget request authority to fund $68,000 from the unrestricted fund balance to update the city of Douglas 2002 general plan. Any questions for Mr. Osborne, and then we'll get a budgetary update on that part of it from Mr. Kiko.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. if I
Yes,
may.
please, Mr. Lindeman.
I was just gonna ask the question, when you just mentioned that the plan was in 1993 and then upgraded in the next 10 years. So that puts us 20 years behind what we should have been doing.
At least 10 years. So the update that we probably would have expected would have been somewhere around 2012, 2013.
Okay. Well, it certainly then needed. And we've got to look for the future. And of course, we got to have our ducks in order for that. So I thank you very much for tackling that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Mr. Shelton, please.
Now we have the amount requested 68,000, budgeted 10,000. Does that mean it's going to be 78,000?
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Mr. Kehoe, can you comment regarding the budget portion of it?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council. I'd also like to add that this was the lowest of a few quotes that Mr. Osborne received. And as he's stated, we are past due on updating the general plan. And with the evolution of the commercial port of entry and mayor and council's policy priorities, which span to annexations and new infrastructure, we want to get this exactly right. And it's a huge, huge project. So staff has provided me all of that justification, and I saw that it was a very important item to bring to you, especially because of the timeline with next November election. So what we had not during budget time, we had budgeted 10,000, obviously not realizing the extent of that, but because of the time frame, I can't really break apart the services provided by a consultant at this point and do some of it in-house to manage through the current budget of 10,000. And under our current fiscal policy for unassigned fund balance, expenditures exceeding 20,000 shall require mayor and council approval. So anything up to 20,000, city manager under policy has the authority to allow for unanticipated expenditure. And this is exactly that. So I wanted to make sure that we brought this back. And it is my recommendation to bring that. It's a one-time cost. That's the intent primarily, to be able to use our unassigned fund balance. We use it also for one-time capital. If we exceed every budget year over a cap that we've set under policy. And we currently have, we're way in excess of that minimum of 2.5 million. I think the current balance at the last finance committee meeting was 5.15 million. Mr. Pedrosa or Mr. Martinez can correct me. And I think we're currently in excess of 6.1.
Thank you.
5.5, thank you.
0.5. Okay, any questions on anything regarding the budget or regarding the project itself? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Vandenegger.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
No.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9C, discussion decision on authorizing the acceptance of proposed scope of work from Stantec Consulting Services in the amount of $325,215.49 for a portion of the preliminary engineering 60% design for the west expansion area for Douglas, Arizona and surrounding project areas. Ms. Moore, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. So this is the second half of the 60% design effort for the west expansion area. You saw the first half, that was probably a month ago, I want to say. The second half we had to send through to get approved by the North American Development Bank. And so this would be You'll be seeing a technical assistance agreement coming next month that we would sign in agreement with the North American Development Bank, where they would hopefully reimburse us for this amount of the 60% design. So these are the tasks that the North American Development Bank have agreed would fall under their purview and they could reimburse us for. With that, I'll answer any questions regarding this item.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the proposal? Yes, Mrs. Morales.
I move that the mayor, council will approve the proposed scope of work from Stanley Consulting Services for a portion of the preliminary engineering 60% design for the west expansion and surrounding areas of the project in the amount of $325,215.49.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton. To approve the request. Questions, comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
I mentioned, I think you mentioned that this was a reimbursable grant.
Yeah, so the first scope of work we sent through for this Stantec 60% were portions of the scope of work that the North American Development Bank did not feel that they could reimburse. This is the portion of the work that they reviewed and felt fell under their program. So we're going to be having that technical assistance agreement coming to the council at the next council meeting.
Thank you.
But the urgency, Ms. Morris, to get this going to meet our deadlines for the new commercial port of entry. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else, please?
Mayor, if I may,
Yes, please.
I also provided you a timeline so that you can have as a reference point, and I've provided it to the city clerk to append our packet on the website as well. It was requested earlier during one of our council member one-on-ones for additional information, and Mr. Pedrosa was able to provide that. I realize I think we cut off a column and we can reprint that, and I'll make sure you have a copy as well.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9D. Discuss and decision on authorizing the approval of the assignment of deed of trust and other loan documents from the Douglas Housing Corporation One assignor to the City of Douglas assignee. Ms. Gonzalez, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The Douglas Housing Corporation One was established and ratified by the City of Douglas Resolution number 13-936 to have decision-making authority on the operations of Casas de Esperanza. In 2015, Casas de Esperanza was sold to Cochise Pacific Associates, and the Douglas Housing Corporation One entered into a partnership agreement with Cochise Pacific to provide resident services facilitator and also to provide them the nonprofit status for tax exemption purposes. Since then, the Douglas Housing Corporation One board has been relatively inactive. And because the City of Douglas Housing Corporation One board stands to gain from this note, residual receipts note that we have in the amount of $500,000. It has been determined that it's in the best interest to transfer that note to the City of Douglas, just because the board has become inactive since the sale of Casas Esperanza. So we are requesting approval for this assignment.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the authorization?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Shelton.
I move that the mayor and council approve the assignment of deed of trust and other loan documents from Douglas Housing Corporation to the City of Douglas assignee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mr. Baldanegro to approve the assignment of deed of trust and other loan documents from the City of Housing Corporation One assignor to the City of Douglas assignee. Any questions or comments, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
if I could just ask, so when we now take over this portion and it's been sold, I'm not quite clear how that's working.
If Cochise Pacific were to sell the property before the maturity date of the note, the city has a position in line with other debtors to gain something financially from that sale. So we are in 8th position for cash distribution prior to dissolution. And then we are on 3rd position on distribution of capital proceeds, but the distribution of capital proceeds just means if Casas de Esperanza or Cochise Pacific starts to make a ton of revenue on Casas de Esperanza, we stand to gain 0.002% of those revenues.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Casa Esperanza still remains as lower income government assisted housing,
Yes, sir.
so that doesn't change.
It has not changed.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Badenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9E, discussion decision on authorizing the grant acceptance in the amount of $2,500 from the Legacy Foundation of Southern Arizona to fund the Healthy Choices at Your Library, STEAM-based health. Is that a STEM base or STEAM base?
Steam.
It actually is.
We've
STEAM.
added art.
So it made me think of broccoli. So I guess we're talking healthy. So a STEAM-based health literacy program. Ms. Villalobos, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The City of Douglas Public Library applied to the Legacy Foundation of Southern Arizona for a grant to fund the Healthy Choices at Your Library, a STEAM-based nutrition literacy program. The city was awarded $2,500 to fund the activities of this program. And STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math.
Art.
I can take any questions.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the acceptance of the grant?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Shelton.
I move the mayor and council approve the change order from some, is this the right one?
No.
Oh, here you go, Mr. Shelton.
One
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move the mayor and council approve the grant acceptance from, the Legacy Foundation of Southern Arizona, the amount of $2,500 to fund the Healthy Choices at Your Library, a STEAM-based health literacy program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mr. Baldonado to accept the legacy grant in the amount of $2,500. Any questions or comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Grijalva.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Villalobos, and the library for, this was one of the things that in the survey came out that people want to learn how to eat healthy. We like to say that we're Mexican culture is here. What do we tend to cook with? Manteca and all these unhealthy things. So this is something to get, used to, but I thank you for looking out for our community and what they're looking for.
Thank you, Mr. Grijalva. Anyone else? Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
Councilmember Morales, I think I cook enough at my house. I'm gonna let whoever's in charge of that. I think it's Diana, cook those meals.
We'll look forward to a TikTok soon then.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes, please, Mr. Shelton.
How many months have you been with us now?
A year and a half.
A year and a half?
So 18.
How much have you brought to the city of Douglas through your grants? Approximately.
I think it's about 7 million.
Oh, really? That's all? Okay. Well, we appreciate your guidance. I think you've probably started from, I don't know what level, but all this experience, you're gaining so much knowledge and you're helping the city of Douglas tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
If I can just add to Mr. Shelton's point, those are 7 million we didn't have before you came along, so thank you.
Excellent point. Thank you very
And
much.
many more that
We're in the
are
queue.
not awarded yet. More in the
Fingers
queue.
crossed.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if anybody out there has any questions in the audience or in the city, you know, now you can tell them. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes,
Mayor Potem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9F, discussion decision on authorizing the approval of change order from Sunland Asphalt for the continuation of the airport runway rehabilitation project. Ms. Moore, please.
Mayor, members of the city council. So this was an unexpected issue. Obviously, change order kind of gives you that understanding. We had started the airport project. We had some grants and funding from ADOT to do the work to resurface the airport. We were doing our best to be under budget on that. It was to mill 2.5 inches of asphalt and re-overlay it to get rid of some of those cracks and get it back to being functional. The understanding that the engineer had on the project was that there was an existing, what they call an asphalt base course, which is just a foundation for the runway. And that this bit of mill and overlay would not be any problem at all, that you just be billing off a small amount and putting back a small amount to get rid of the cracks. However, when Sunland started working on the runway, what they discovered was they were milling the 2.5 inches down, they were actually hitting just native soil. That there wasn't actually a foundation on the runway. And sometimes that isn't a problem, but in this particular case, what happened was they found clay and the clay got wet. And when clay gets wet and you put pressure on it, the moisture comes out the top and it gets, the technical term, squishy. And when they were trying to pave it, to put the 2.5 inches back, it just wouldn't take it. It wouldn't allow the machinery to go over the top of it to put the 2.5 inches back. And so Sunland worked really hard to find the minimal amount necessary of work to get us back up and running. They didn't repave the whole runway, or they didn't fix the base on the whole runway, but just those areas where they found the clay. And so that amount was $301,711.80. And what they did to repair that clay area was they mixed cement into the base, so they wouldn't have to haul the material away. They just worked the material in place to stabilize it, to allow them then to put the asphalt back. And then with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Good. Just 1 second, can
Make a motion.
Mr. Kiko or Mr. Pedrosa speak to the how the funding will work with this?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, I'd also like to clarify that regarding this change order, we have not paid for that amount. We've authorized the work just to move the project along. I'm sorry, this is echo. But we have the anticipated funding coming up in our ADOT Aeronautics 5-year CIP plan, and then the total of what we expect in the sale of the land surrounding the airport. That could be something to cover this cost. Initially, it'll come from budgeted capital with a hope to end up with a net neutral position with some of these grants or sale proceeds is my recommendation.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the request?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Valdenegro.
I move the mayor and council approve the change order from Sunland Asphalt for the continuation of the airport runway rehabilitation project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Valdenegro, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the change order from Sunland Asphalt for the continuation of the airport runway rehabilitation project. Any questions or comments? Valdenegro, please.
Ms. Moore, is that subfloor or sub-base at the, is that adequate for a runway? Or we're gonna see this as a project, something that's gonna bite us in later on?
It'll buy us some time. I mean, we'll get that 2.5 inches laid back down. We'll have a usable runway again. We didn't have enough money on this project to rebuild the whole runway, you know what I mean, from the base up. And you're still gonna be, it's a repaired runway, but it's not a rebuilt runway, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be good, it'll be functional, you'll have a good surface on it. But when they did take off that 2.5 inches, they found big cracks and they tried to fill them and they did their best. We're gonna have a good surface there, but we are gonna keep an eye on it to make sure that we're maintaining it because those cracks will come back up, I believe.
How much of a surface area are we talking about? Is it the
I don't know.
football field size or longer, wider?
So they picked specific sections to redo and I've got a list here of the sections they felt were just too soft for them to repave. I can send that to you in the council, the sections that they felt were just too soft. They really did try to limit it, they didn't go back and rip up all the stuff they had put down, but just the areas that had that clay that they just felt they couldn't repave. So it's a limited amount that they're going back to stabilize, but I think it's a necessary amount for getting us back up and running, because otherwise the asphalt just wouldn't be in a good condition.
How much of a guarantee or warranty do we have on this?
So they're doing all the work that we're not, on one of the projects recently, the city did step in and do some work in the middle of the project. And for that, the warranty wasn't as good. They're going to warranty their work with the big but. The work that they did, they didn't reconstruct the whole runway. They acknowledged that there's cracks underneath that could resurface. For us, it's going to be maintenance. We're going to have to look at when those cracks reappear, we're going to have to go in and do some filling and make sure that we're kind of keeping on top of it. I'm hoping we get, 5 to 8 more years out of the runway before we have to do another major project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Please, Mr. Shelton.
I'd like to really thank the company for telling us that, because they could have done it. And a year from now, we could have been having major problems.
Yes, Councilman Shelton, I completely agree. When this came up, and I know everyone's like contractors, but Sunland was very upfront with us, and they told us and showed us pictures, and we can forward some of those pictures to you of what they were seeing, and they did the professional thing and told us what was wrong and tried to help us get it corrected. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9G. Discuss and decision on authorizing the approval of City of Douglas surplus vehicle and equipment auction. Mr. Martinez, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We're requesting your authorization and approval to conduct a live auction of city-owned surplus vehicles and equipment. The list was attached to your item. This is to be conducted on November the 4th, and we also have a backup date of November 18th. We're also requesting that any items that are not sold at auction be placed, your authorization for us to place those items on an online auction. So until they're sold. And just a brief reminder that according to our charter, no city employee, elected or appointed of city official or member of their immediate family shall be permitted to bid, purchase, or acquire any city property.
Thank you. May I have a motion to authorize the auction?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move that Mayor and Council approve the City of Douglas surplus vehicles, equipment, and auction date of 11/4/2023 with the back date of 11/18/2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Baldonegro to approve the auction of surplus vehicles and equipment. Any questions or discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, please, Mr. Baldonegro.
Mr. Martinez, how can we find out if you do sell some items online, if the person's a city employee or not? Or one of us?
Very good question. I have not had the opportunity to actually conduct one of these at the at the city of Douglas. I will kind of defer to Mr. Pedrosa on this one to see what kind of quality checks are in place.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Baldenegro, it's difficult to say the least. That's why we are gonna communicate that out to all employees that per our charter, although we tried to change that in our last election, it didn't pass. For our charter, employees, officials, and their family members cannot bid on these items, unfortunately. So that's we have to monitor that, and if we're able to, if we see that, I mean, obviously we have to be able to respond if it's some employee or somebody that it's a family member.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shelton?
Yeah, this is Douglas. Within an hour after the auction, one or two or three of us would know what had happened. How can it be? I know. Word gets around.
And Mayor.
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
That brings to my mind, has it ever happened before? And what would be the penalty?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Lindeman, I'm trying to be careful with, we have had it happen and we have had to take action on the personnel side. That's, I think, all I can say.
Yeah, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may add also, council did ask as we prepped for and informed him on the agenda items that we make sure to let our employees know, let the public know that we are making an effort to, because we have many new employees. So I have directed staff to get that information out on exactly what the restrictions are under city charter. And we will be working on policy updates for that and making sure that every employee is trained and acknowledges receipt of that information and understanding that it follows a merit system discipline, constructive discipline for that. And we can go into many scenarios, things that we've seen in the past, but it's been quite a while since we've had an auction, first of all, and now they're online. We used to have ways when they were all in person to make sure that that didn't occur. And we would advise employees that, it can't be your neighbor on your behalf and see you driving that next week or next month or 6 months down the road. So we go through all of the types of scenarios that, because we even though we tried to make that change last year, the charter remains. And we will remain constant on that, making sure that employees are aware of what the policy is.
Thank you. Anyone else? The excess millions that we'll realize from this auction will go into which account?
Mr. Mayor, this goes back into the general fund.
Thank you. And I jokingly say excess millions.
I love your optimism.
Excess dollars, singular, almost. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 10, city manager report. Mr. Kiko, please.
Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, I'll go quickly through our routine community calendar items. And just a reminder, these are on our website and it's a great resource to check in, not just for City of Douglas events, but others in the community. Just a quick glimpse of upcoming week at the library. October 13th, trick or treat bag decorating. Bags will be provided. October 20th, all age Halloween costume party, free games, candy and prizes. Just a note for that day, library closes at 2 p.m. and party will be from 5 to 7 p.m. October 27th, Halloween costume story time and cookie decorating at the library. So there's plenty more regular programming going on at our library. So please go online to see the wonderful things that are happening there. Also, October 19th, Ward 6 block party, 5 to 7 p.m. in front of Coronado Courts, their office area on 18th Street between A and Bonita Avenues. This is the first of more to come. We will work with other council members to bring similar events to their ward. October 21st, G Avenue First Responders Barbecue and Chili Cook-Off, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. downtown G Avenue. October 27th, Energize Douglas street closures from 9 to 10th Street. October 28th, Shred-a-thon and Prescription Drug Take Back, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Raul Castro Park. October 31st, Trunk or Treat, 4 to 7 p.m. Copper King Stadium. November 2nd and 3rd, the second annual Dia de los Muertos, G Avenue, between 9th and 12th Streets from 5 to 9 p.m. Other updates, Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on Tuesday, October 24th at 5:30 here in Council Chamber. Also, just want to make an announcement that many of our divisions are changing to winter hours or have recently changed to winter hours as follows. Water Division on winter hour are already on winter hours, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Streets and Facilities of Public Works are working 6 to 2 currently, but beginning next Monday, they will switch to 7 to 3 p.m. Fleet hours are the same all year, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sanitation also the same all year, 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Cemetery winter hours, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Although the cemetery remains open in terms of the grounds until 5:30 p.m. and the office remains open until 4:30 p.m. Parks also 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. for their winter hours, and we will publish these schedules as a reminder for community members on our website. We can also do social media for that. Staff is also developing a plan for the purchase of our next asphalt plant. That report will be forthcoming soon. As you recall, that was a request for us to keep you updated on how we plan to transition that very important operation. We are currently operating our current asphalt plant, but we know it's an older plant and we have to be working proactively and taking steps. So we are working on that plan to bring forth to be ready for our next budgetary cycle. Another project forthcoming is planned work on Chino Road. This is not a long-term engineering solution, which we continue to pursue, but certainly a repair of current conditions on a more short-term basis. It will be handled in-house. That's our current plan, using our existing asphalt plant, and staff will work up a plan to rent some of the necessary equipment for that. We also hope to get this done in November, but we are establishing a more defined timetable, and we will distribute it as soon as it's available. We want to also provide some timelines there in case of issues that are unexpected. And I wanted to just comment on lining or striping that was brought up with one of our community members on the report and concern on some of our streets that were recently chip sealed. We are working on pursuing the next step, which is striping, possibly through partnerships with Cochise County. I'll keep you all informed on how that progresses. And we will be looking at the safety and speeding issues with our police department staff to respond to our community members' request. That's all my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 11, informational items and reports from council on future agenda item requests. Mr. Grijalva, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to remind everybody Commodities Day this Monday. I was informed and Also staff that the food banks, one of their garage doors is busted, so they can't put in the food that comes out in the semi truck. So I'd like to thank staff for expediting the process of closing the blocks, because if we don't close the blocks, they don't have anywhere to get food. And they have to give that food out to those who need it. I'd also like to thank the Loreto Student Council and Mr. Moreno, the DHS senior class, and Mr. Hoffman for invitations to meet them. And we talked about fundraising. They all want to fundraise. So both of them were actually invited to go fundraise at the block party. So if you attend the block party, your support for them is really appreciated. As a thank you to Senator Sinema, Senator Kelly, Senator Stanton, and Reps Siscomani and Grijalva. Rep Grijalva asked us if we could send him a shirt, a Bulldog shirt, because the Pumas already sent him one. That was before the pig game. So we won the pig game. And as a thank you from the city of Douglas, I sent them a Bulldog shirt and made them honorary Bulldogs for helping us because they took the time out from their busy schedule to meet with us. I'd like to also thank the American Legion, Scott Babicky, Arizona at Work, Norma Lynn Galindo, and all the vendors and individuals that helped make the Veterans Resource Fair a success. And hopefully next year or whenever they want to do it, we could partner with them, because there was a lot of resources that they could still need. But I'd like to thank everybody that helped out, including Coaches College right here. Speaking of Coaches College and AV Adriel, because he's also part of this, there's a Kiwani's Pancake Breakfast fundraiser for youth programs, $5 a ticket on October 21st. You can contact myself, AV Adriel, or Diego Guerrero for those tickets. And also I want to mention again the Ward 6 Block Party on October 19th from 5 to 7. There's free food, free music, free games, and free entertainment that'll be there. And hopefully, you know, when we have these Energize Douglas and we have these events for everybody and a lot of different people come, but we also have to remember there's individuals that are homebound. There's individuals that are low income that might not have transportation when we have events downtown. So hopefully it's the start of us taking the events to them and, you know, making it a community effort. So I'd like to thank staff for their help on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grijalva. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms.
I would
Walden.
like to take the time right now to recognize Mr. Jose Medina, who's going to be leaving the city of Douglas. Friday is his official retirement date. I wish him well in his new endeavor at Fort Huachuca. Thank you, Jose, for your time.
You failed to mention that he is a proud University of Arizona Wildcat.
Yeah.
Graduate.
Thank you. Congratulations on that.
Anyone else, please?
Mayor, I'd just like to say that I was privileged to attend the Mexican baseball game. It was really good. I appreciated all the effort that it takes to put that on. And I hope that we can continue to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lindeman. Anyone else? Now we'll move on to item number 12, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Yes, Ms. Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Lindeman to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 7:17 PM.